Hey everybody, it's Charlie. This is going to be my video for all the Thor deleted scenes and alternate endings. There were so many things that they changed during the Infinity War process. A lot of those things were specific to the Thor storyline because he was so integral to the overarching plot of Infinity War. We're doing a new round of that IMAX ticket giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on the video. I'll name a new winner at the end of this. So top 10 style, starting with number 10. Obviously, I think I've talked about this before. Loki survives Thanos' attack at the beginning. He still gets the Space Stone. Thor still gets his ass handed to him, and half of the Asgardians wind up dead. But the other half get away with Valkyrie and Korg. 9. He, Rocket, and Groot always pair off to go to Nidavellir to get his Stormbreaker weapon. But this is really where some of the biggest changes start happening. The Russos and the writers of the movie actually specifically addressed this during the movie commentary. Here's like a brief clip of that.
Ancient dwarves, an ancient race of weapons makers.
We struggled a lot as to where this axe was going to be, if you remember.
We had many locations.
And again, I've been saying it, and it's like I forget every movie, but every scene needs to do more than one thing. And so we had scenes where it was trapped by basically a dragon. I mean, all sorts of things. But this scene, not only does it provide a test for Thor, but it also shows what Thanos has wrought. Right? And that's the second element, that it gets you a little myth about the forging of the gauntlet and that he's a ruthless SOB. And I don't know why it took us so long to figure out that he needed to do that.
No, but it was a huge breakthrough.
It was.
It took us a long time to figure out how to design this Dyson sphere and the forge and how it would work. There's a lot of conceptual art created to figure it out. Kept refining the rules in post as we were developing the VFX, and it almost cost him his life.
And in doing so allows for another character to make basically the only choice he makes in the movie.
Yeah. There's something very satisfying that from here on out, Thor's axe will have a little bit of Groot in it.
Oh, I do like that. Yeah.
That really represents this cross-pollination. We all know, if you've seen Thor, that these weapons have a healing power for Asgardians.
As you can tell, there were a lot of crazy ideas that they just shouted out. They're actually pretty cool sounding, but for budgetary reasons, for story reasons, just didn't wind up making the final cut. So 8, in the original version of events, Thor gets Ultimate Thor's costume, and he still has long hair. They were always going to give him a version of Ultimate Thor's hammer, which is still called Mjolnir, but they had envisioned him being the Ultimate Thor from the comics, so he looked exactly like that. But obviously, at the end of Thor Ragnarok, Taika Waititi cut Thor's hair, thank you very much, Stan Lee, and gave him that black version of the costume that he wore throughout Infinity War. So they weren't able to do straight-up comic book Ultimate Thor, but the next best thing. 7, they also toyed with a white costume that seems very similar to the Avengers 4 armor we've been seeing in all the concept art the past couple of months and that toy box art, which might not make it into Avengers 4, but it's also possible. This is also one of those instances where they probably didn't want to double down. They were already changing so many things about his character. They want to save something for Avengers 4. So regardless of what his new costume looks like in Avengers 4, this was what it was originally going to look like in Infinity War. But 6, like they said during their little commentary clip there, when Thor, Rocket, and Groot originally arrived on Nidavellir, they find the forges had all been destroyed by Thanos after Eitri made the Infinity Gauntlet for him, instead of just chopping his hands off and deactivating the star they drew their power from. But the big thing here is that Thor searches through the rubble of the forges and finds Stormbreaker that way, instead of them straight up forging it. Also, 5, the space dragon that they mentioned, the writers say that there was a version of the movie where a dragon forges Stormbreaker for Thor instead of Eitri. That sounds like an expensive upgrade. Space Dragon does sound really, really cool, but the only dragon that comes to mind when you're thinking, oh, I want to see this in a movie, is Fin Fang Foom, and how do you explain him showing up in the Dwarven homeworld as a weaponsmith? So it just didn't make a lot of sense, and it was really expensive on top of an already very expensive movie. 4, they had a whole bunch of different designs for the actual Stormbreaker weapon. I think they made the right call. They wanted it to feel like the ultimate version of MCU Mjolnir, and the MCU version of the hammer is just a little bit different from the comic book version of the hammer. But it always had the ability to open the Bifrost wormholes, its strength level compared to Mjolnir was always the same, so all the cool stuff about it was always going to be what you saw during the movie. 3, getting into the alternate endings. So originally, during the final fight against Thanos, when he had his cool entrance and shows up and people are all surprised, that was originally supposed to be a different character showing up. The Russos revealed that originally they wanted the surprise entrance to be Captain America and for it to happen when Thanos is running that Avengers gauntlet. So that trailer shot that they put in every single trailer of him running up and catching the Infinity Gauntlet and screaming in Thanos' face, that was going to be the first time that you saw Captain America during Infinity War after him showing up in Civil War. Like his beard, everything, you were going to get that all in the same moment. Pretty easy to understand why they changed that. They didn't want to make you wait more than 2 hours to see Captain America for the first time since Civil War. And if they had done that, he would have only been in the movie for a couple minutes because relatively quickly after that, Thanos snapshires everyone and the movie's over. But 2, Thor was always going to come to Wakanda, but instead of Thanos' thresher machines chewing through everything in their path, Thor and Rocket have to fight the Midgard Serpent, or at least the MCU version of the Midgard Serpent. If you've been following Marvel movie rumors since at least Phase 2, there was a rumor during Thor the Dark World that Midgard Serpent was going to be a character, that it was going to have something to do with the location of the Aether. Obviously, that wound up changing, so a lot of times they'll have really cool concept ideas that they'll just save for future movies. This looks like maybe Midgard Serpent is going to get pushed to some other future movie. As crazy awesome as that would have been, you have to imagine it would have been a version of that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 fight where they're on the platform going against the Obelisk with Drax jumping down its gullet. You have to imagine Thor doing a version of that, jumping down the Midgard Serpent's gullet and killing it from the inside with Stormbreaker. But number 1, the Avengers dogpile was going to be the end of that gauntlet that Thanos ran. So you have to imagine that they're all going at him at the same time instead of one at a time. Thor still throws Stormbreaker into his chest, should have gone for the head. While everyone's on top of him, he's able to free his gauntlet hand, snap his fingers, and that's the end of everything. And then the end of the movie is relatively similar with them just sitting there not understanding why everyone's disappearing. There have been a lot of you that have asked about the Russo's special Q&A screening of Infinity War next week. They're screening the movie and doing a special Q&A because it's the 1-year anniversary of the release of the Infinity War trailer. We're all hoping that Disney is going to try and use that anniversary to also drop the Avengers 4 trailer. If they do, or if they talk about anything during the Q&A, then I will totally make a video about it. Best scenario, we'll have a better picture for when things are actually going to start rolling out. But don't forget there's a prequel comic book for Avengers 4 that they're releasing the first week in December. And why would they release that prequel comic book talking about the story if they weren't going to also start marketing the movie? So don't worry, if you don't see the Avengers 4 trailer next week, it's still happening before the end of the year, per Kevin Feige's comments. Make sure to let me know in the comments what you want my next Marvel video to be about. Congratulations, Jasmine Lawson. You're the giveaway winner from my last big Marvel video. Please email me on the About page of my channel so I can get your contact details. Click here for the brand new Captain Marvel trailer and click here for brand new Rick and Morty deleted scenes. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.